we know that if we don't change course, we will have hundreds of millions of people falling back into poverty. We have tens of millions probably dying, possibly of hunger. So this is a misery, and we have to address it. So to bring it at the forefront of our topics here, of our program, and to generate action. That's my intention.
How do you think about the world of crypto? By the way, I don't know if we can get the camera's not going to see it. The blockchain house is here.
Right.
Every crypto person is in town here in Davos.
Right.
And we've watched it obviously tank. It's not clearly a hedge on inflation, at least thus far.
Right.
But do you see that as the tail? Do you see that as the dog? What's going on there?
I think it's more of a symptom. It's telling you, it's like the canary in the coal mine, right? We're seeing crypto collapse the way it is. I think it's got more downsides.
More downside.
More downside.
How much more?
Well, when I look at Bitcoin, which the technicals have been better than anything else, when we break, below 30,000 consistently, 8,000 is the ultimate bottom. So I think we've got a lot more room to the downside especially with the Fed being restrictive. And let's face it, most of these currencies they're not currencies, right? They're junk, right? I mean, the majority of crypto is garbage. So there are going to be survivors, but, and crypto is the future.
There's hundreds of cryptocurrencies.
19,000.
But do you think that Bitcoin is junk? Do you think that ETH is junk? Do you think Solana is junk? How do you...
I think Ethereum, I think Bitcoin will be survivors.
And survivors at one day at 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 in the sort of Kathy Woods world, or something else?
Yeah, it could be, but I don't think we've seen the dominant player in crypto yet.
If you approach the regulators with you need to adapt to us, I mean, that is dead on arrival. Like my experience, and globally, and frankly, even here in Davos, meeting with financial regulators in all kinds of countries, I think we have to acknowledge. Ben Bernanke, the former head of the U.S. Fed, came to one of Ripple's customer events, and one of the things he said is, countries will not give up their ability to control monetary supply. They will roll tanks into the streets. If I were in the venture capital business, and to some degree, Ripple's invested in about 50 companies, so to some degree we are, I think RegTech is an underappreciated opportunity. The U.S. is certainly behind other countries, but even some of the leading countries in this space, understanding how the businesses you operate in are going to be regulated by governments is critical to make investment as an entrepreneur, to start new companies. As a U.S. entrepreneur, when people ask me, they're thinking about starting a crypto company, I say, don't incorporate in the United States, because that's where it's somewhere between hostile and uncertain. And there's much better clarity in Japan and Singapore, here in Switzerland, to invest. And I think globally having more clarity, more certainty will help this innovation thrive, and it'll help remittances because of that.
What do you think are some of the issues with other major regulators around the world right now? Because we've seen, in the US, in the UK, in parts of Europe as well, they're talking about regulation, but there's not much action, nor is there much concrete framework being put forward. Why is that?
I think it's the will. I think the will and how agile and quick you can be in developing that regulations. Crypto is very fast. Things are changing day by day. And that's why you have to be very fast in putting the right framework and being able to adapt to the changes and have the regulation ready for those changes as well. And that's, I think, where we as United Arab Emirates and Abu Dhabi are bringing this to the table to the crypto space.
But I do think, I've spoken to Christine Lagarde personally, and I think we need to stop measuring it just by what's going on with the overall value and how are these assets being used to solve real world problems. And I think time and time again, we're seeing more and more real use cases solving real scaled problems where blockchain technologies can reduce friction measured by cost and speed in a way that I think improves the overall economy.
Does the fact that these 19,000 cryptocurrencies have been largely used as speculative assets do damage to the underlying case that you're arguing for?
I think absolutely yes. And it's frustrating. I said when there were about 2,000, so as you said correctly, there's about 19,000 today. When there were at 2,000, I got some heat from the crypto market by saying that something like 99% of them I thought would go to zero. and that wasn't a popular statement suggesting that only 20 would be around. Well, now you have 19,000. My prediction, at least for now, has been moved the wrong direction. But there are some tokens out there that I think are focused on solving a problem. And those are ones that I can see being used in the future, and we could give a number of different examples. Some of them are present here in Davos. But there's also ones that I look at, I hear the description, and I don't get it. And I think there is risk, as Christine Lagarde commented. They are speculative, they are risky, but that doesn't mean there isn't real opportunity.
Right, I find this conversation refreshing. We've spoken to so many crypto experts out there who know nothing about this and who just want the gamification of it. They just want to encourage people into various Ponzi schemes. I hear what you're saying. We're great fans of what blockchain technology can do, but just to categorically say, you think most of these products are just going to disappear and investors are going to lose their money over the coming years?
I think there's a high risk that, well, certainly when you say most, meaning more than 50%, I think there's a high risk that most of this fails.
How many fiat currencies in the world are there? About 180?
Yeah. Look, there is clearly examples where these can be used. What Ripple is doing with our digital asset that we use in our technology stack called XRP is solving a cross-border payments problem. And that cross-border payments problem we all have experienced. When you're moving money cross borders, it is slow and it is typically expensive. There's no reason we can't use these technologies to solve that problem.
I hear you. And do you know what? I think more regulation, better, then we can all know what we're trading with. Why don't you want more regulation on XRP? Why are you in a big fight with SEC's Gary Gensler that's just going on and on?
What is going on? That's frustrating. Gary Gensler was quoted as saying that justice delayed is justice denied, yet at every turn the SEC has been slowing this one down. Look, we were the ones advocating for years that we needed regulatory clarity in the United States. And then for the SEC to say, hey, even though it's not clear, we're going to bring a civil lawsuit saying that XRP is a security, we find to be a bit ironic. I'm actually advocating for regulatory clarity. I've been in...
Not for XRP to be a security.
I think most crypto assets are not securities, and I think they are clearly commodities, and they are regulated. I mean, when people say, as Gary Gensler has said, this is the Wild West, that is not true. We're a regulated company by many different regulatory bodies today, and outside the United States, you have the regulatory clarity.
It's very interesting what's happened in places like China or Kenya. We thought it would be young people who sort of take very quickly to digital cash. It's amazing how quickly older people, grandmothers, have taken to digital cash. And they are quick with it, maybe not as nimble with their fingers, but, it's just the norm. It becomes the norm. And it's amazing how older people have taken to digital means. And it's more convenient to them, it's more secure, no one can nick your wallet. So culture changes.
Our standpoint on this is largely when you're looking at something like Bitcoin, you're looking at something that for us really does look, feel, and act like a digital gold. If you look out over a longer time horizon, you will see crypto being uncorrelated to other asset classes, although oftentimes, to your point, it is scrutinized because we do only have the last 10 plus years of trading history to really examine.
With regard to BTC, you mentioned store of value. Has your thinking changed between store of value and currency and the use case for Bitcoin?
It honestly hasn't. We also have to, again, remember we're only 10, 12 years into the life cycle of Bitcoin. And when you think about how much it's developed over this last decade plus, a lot of people criticize it for not becoming an overall currency, to go buy a cappuccino, to pay your rent, things like that. But if Bitcoin is successful, and it largely is very successful already, there's nothing wrong with its solo use case being as a digital gold, a gold 2.0, a gold for a new and younger generation. We're spending a lot of time in DC, and that's also a reason that the Grayscale team is here at Davos. Regulation around crypto and the entire ecosystem is paramount. One thing that we really would like to see is, certainly on the heels of the White House executive order, what you've seen out of the UK government, what you've seen in Germany recently, a lot of governments are moving their policies and procedures forward, and we'd like the US to do the same thing here. We need to see regulation beyond just enforcement so that we have the proper regulatory frameworks to foster the innovation, to create job growth, to create products and services, to ensure that the innovation around this technology remains in the US and we don't lose our competitive advantage there.
We've seen a meltdown in the crypto markets, especially when it comes to some stable coins, fall in crypto prices. In India, trading volumes come down because of taxation imposed by the government. What's your sense of how this space is likely to evolve, because many young people watching you would be deeply disappointed with the tax that the government has put and that UPI can no longer be used for crypto trading. And that seems, given how they were excited about crypto trading, that seems to be a big bummer for them.
I think everybody should just recognize the fact that crypto assets are an extremely risky speculative asset class. It's gone from being a $3 trillion market to $1.5 trillion market in about 6 months. So it's very quick moves. It's not a panacea. It's not like an easy return investment. So there are very large risks you are taking. And with any risky asset, there has to be regulation.
So how do you look at crypto personally? Would you ever, have you invested even $1 in it, or you stay away completely?
I've stayed away completely. But that's just me and my level of risk aversion.